Last week we got the opportunity to go to Beach Church. I believe that's in Surfside. Surfside, North Myrtle. I think it was Surfside. Man, it's the biggest place I've ever been in my life. The church was so big that when you come through the doors, you go to the right-hand side, and there was a coffee shop. Go to the left-hand side, and they had a bakery. Right up front, they had their own Bible bookstore. I mean, it was something else. I'm telling you, I've never seen nothing like it. They had 2 sets of bathrooms in the front of the church. You go down into the auditorium, and it was like a coliseum. There was movie type seating, on an incline where it went down toward the platform. And then behind us, there was a balcony that probably held 300 or 400 more people up top. I've never seen nothing like it. I've never been to a place like it before in my life. It was pretty amazing just to see it. Anyway, the preacher preached out of the book of Daniel. He was talking about how apparently he was in the middle of a series, and we just walked in for the middle part of it. But he was talking about how the Hebrew children had been treated, how they'd been taken in, but they served God, and since they served God, they had found favor with the king. And now we got to the place that Daniel was, he was loved by King Darius. And all those that were against him they were scared of him. They didn't know what to do, and they set up to come up with a plan to catch Daniel, to trip him up, to get rid of him, because, well, they just didn't like the fact that the king liked him. They didn't like the fact that he was so favored. And they knew that they could never catch him in any wrongdoing. So their plan was to catch him in his faithfulness to God. They went to the king with flattery. And they told the king, "Oh, great and mighty king, you should decree that no one can pray to anyone but you for the next 30 days. And anyone that is caught praying to anyone other than you, then they shall be thrown into the den of lions." Well, the king made the decree, and he made it by the oath of the Medes and the Persians, which meant that it couldn't be revoked, it couldn't be removed, nobody could rewrite it. What was said, and there was nothing that could be done about it. So the very next day, when it came to the appointed time, Daniel opened his windows and prayed. He pointed out that Daniel was bold in his faith. And so the way that it reads, it sounds like maybe his custom was not to open the windows, but since the trap had been laid, he wanted to make sure that everybody was clear where he stood. The very next day, they found Daniel on his knees, praying to his God. I wish a lot of Christians would make it clear where they stand. I wish a lot of Christians would get it together, would get the idea, would understand that you can't play both lines, you can't play both sides, you can't do the things that make you happy and overlook the things that God calls wrong. You can't be on both sides of the fence. Either you've got to be sold out to God or you're not part of Him at all. I wish we would make it clear where we stand. We claim Christ, and we do things that are in opposition to His character. We claim Christ, and we don't love one another. We claim Christ, and we destroy each other rather than edify. Daniel wanted to leave no doubt in who he served. Daniel wanted to leave no doubt in who he believed. I'm afraid a lot of us serve Christ when it's convenient to us, but the first time any fear, any shame, anything comes along, we tuck tail and we run. We serve Him in a closet where no one can see. But in the open, we hide from Him. The way I remember the book of Romans says that whosoever is ashamed of me, I shall be ashamed of in front of my Father. Daniel opened his windows and he prayed to God. And when his enemies saw him, they brought him before the king. It says, "Oh, king, you know that guy Daniel? He's broken your order. We found him praying to his God." Man, the king was hurt. He was sorrowful, but it wasn't nothing he could do. He had already made the decree. He'd already made the order. He had to follow through on it. So he cast Daniel in the den of lions. The way that it reads, it seems to me that King Darius had a harder time that night than Daniel did. Because when it was morning, the king ran to the lion's den. And he called out, "Daniel, are you okay?" "Oh yes, king. My God delivered me from the mouths of the lions." Don't ever forget that. I don't know what your enemies are. I don't know what your problems are. I don't know what your failures or your faults are. Your battles, your struggles. I don't know. I don't know what your lions are, but I do know that God is bigger. He's a lion tamer. We just got to wait on Him. We got to put our faith in Him. We got to trust in Him. We got to stand up and stand out in our faith. Even when others don't. Even when it don't make sense. Even when it's going to cost us. Stand up for what you believe. Stand up for Christ. God's never going to let you down. I love you guys. God bless you.